Hello Internet, this is the coding teacher. I'm here to teach you how to code, and in this episode we're going to be making this look a little bit nicer. And if you look through the CSS that I have, here's where let's just quickly go through this. This is a bunch of stuff, this wrap and wrap input and blah blah blah. All this stuff is just pertaining to this little input text right here, so that when I click it I can look up. So we're going to implement that feature actually later. Then left is just width 28%, height VH, position might want to do fixed. Let's see how that works. Top 0, right is 69 width. We can probably get away with 70% width right here. Height 100 VH, display inline block. Then this company preview is the one that the little card that I have. So it's width 85%, and they're gonna be inside the div that's class company, which is inside left. So class company, let's go look at it. We have the div class left, and we have the div class companies rather. So you see it has no margin, no padding. It just takes up the entire width of left, and inside there we have this company preview that's with 85%, is centered with a little bit of margin above and below. Maybe let's take that down a notch. Then we have it has a little bit of box shadow, a little bit of padding. We could potentially take that down a notch too, and then that little transition, so that when we hover it, it changes the background color and it scales up a little bit. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and change this to div class company preview, and let's close the div right here, and let's make sure that this guy's inside I don't know, let's call it an H4. And let's see what that looks like now when we mess something up horribly. Oh yeah, that width. Oh yeah, the position fixed is what's yeah, so we'll actually have to come back to this relative, because if we do fixed, then it, well, let's try this. Fixed and right, display inline block, position, absolute, and right 0. Let's try that. See, we'll see if that works whenever this guy increases in size. We'll try to make it scrollable independently, but this should be good for now. The next step will be actually making so that when I click one of these, it loads the data of that particular employer and puts it right here. So in order to do that, what we need to do is we need to use another directive called ng-click. So we need to make these guys react to clicks, right? So the way we do that is using that directive ng-click, and we're just going to put the function call that's going to run, and it has to be a function that exists within the controller's scope. So let's call it left or employer card click, and let's remember that name so that we can go to our app.js and say that we can actually, for tidiness and to be able to refactor this later, I'm going to declare the function out here globally, even though that's not how I would keep things. I just don't want to I don't want to create a controller that's gigantic, that's like 20 freaking lines with a bunch of functions that are nested in there. That's just not my style. I don't think it looks good. It's not legible. So employer card click, that takes this scope, right? And what we're going to do here is we're going to say scope dot for now let's just make sure that it's going to work. Console.log this a card got clicked. Alright, here we go, and all we gotta do now is say scope dot employer card click equals this global employer card click function. Actually, no, we have to do this in arrow function, employer card click scope. And the reason we had to do that is so that, this employer card click function that's in the scope, we have to pass the scope to it, right? So what we're basically doing is, this is just going to be a function that's going to run this global one, right? And it's going to pass the scope object to it, and the scope object is only accessible from here. So let's try that out right now, and go back to our console. Our card got clicked, so it's working for all of them. So I think we went through a good bunch of material for this episode. That's going to be it for this one. So in the next episode, we'll work on actually making these click handlers pull the data that's in the general, scope.employers data structure and populate these fields.